Bright posters, foreign diplomats, and a drag queen stage. All this featured in Kyiv's Equality March. Around 3,500 people participated in Kyiv Pride, although the organizers expected at least 5,000. Clashes between opponents of the march and police started at 6 a.m. Around 150 opponents of the procession tried to block the movement along its route. And when the police dispersed the protesters, they used tear gas. Police used tear gas when dispersing the protesters. 57 people were detained and 3 law enforcement officers were injured. But Kyiv Pride 2018 itself was quite peaceful. This was even noted by German Minister of Europe, Michael Roth.
I'm really honored to join so many demonstrators, and it was a very peaceful and happy demonstration with a clear commitment to equality and solidarity.
Nearly 5,000 law enforcement officers oversaw the march in Kyiv city center. Member of the European Parliament Rebecca Harms joined the Equality March, as well as Canadian Ambassador to Ukraine, Ruslana Levchuk, and U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Mary Yovanovich.
It's great to be out here with so many Ukrainians supporting the right for everybody to be treated with dignity and respect.
Among the participants of the Equality March were the Ukrainian MPs Tymur Levchuk and Ruslana Panukhnik. March participants reached the finishing point with no problems, where they were taken to safe places by bus.
So that was the day, very long, started very early. So what are the main highlights? And also, that was the most peaceful march for the last years. But at the same time, still somebody remarked that it's still more a political march rather than a celebration.
It is, because we still are marching in the surroundings of the thousands of the police officers and law enforcement officers, and we still do not have the full openness of the march. So we still have to go through the check-in points and to the security check in order to march in the city center. So yeah, there is some steps to go further, and I guess I would say that our estimations and the numbers are kind of bigger, because as far as I know that police slightly decrease the numbers from year to year, and our estimations are 5,000 people. And we were counting them, our volunteers were counting people.
But also it's first year when we have really support from celebrities, from Ukrainian celebrities. I mean about Ukrainian song Irina Bilyk, the Anja.
Like pop stars.
Yes, really pop stars. And also TV producer and video producer Alan Badoyev, Max Barskih, and something else. But it's really huge support from celebrities, and it's first time in our history.
Oh, what was different when with dealing the city, with dealing with the police this year?
This year we continued our very fruitful and successful and very pleasant cooperation with police and city authorities, because starting from 2016 we have the full support from the city and from the police in order to guarantee the security and to protect the public order within the march itself. And we do have the very good cooperation. We start like half a year before. We had like several meetings, and everything went very smooth and well. And we do very satisfied with that.
At the same time, there are usually, at least after the march, sometimes there would be some, attacks on some of the activists. How about this year?
We haven't any news about this. Some post on Facebook, but it's not case, and we haven't any case.
Actually, we have two cases during this year's March of Equality. The one happened before the march. One of our volunteers was attacked before the march with the pepper spray gas, and the one case happened afterwards with the same pepper spray gas attack. So nobody was hit or beaten or attacked heavily. So only the gas attack. I guess I would consider it a good result after the march. So nobody was hurt and nobody was beaten up afterwards.
I would also like to draw the attention to another our report, which is more about the logistic of the march and also of the commands of the participants.
From 9 o'clock in the morning, the center of Kyiv was busy. The annual March for Equality and LGBT Rights, Kyiv Pride, started near the National Opera building. On the other side of the fence stood counter-protesters who had tried blocking the territory of Kyiv Pride earlier in the morning, but were prevented by police. 57 people were detained today.
I don't understand why some kind of radical group can dictate how we should live, who we should love, what we should demand from the government, and so on. Today they're demanding this from the LGBT community. Tomorrow they're going to be demanding it from the Jews, and we're going to be back to the Second World War, just the way it was.
Everyone who wanted to attend the march had to be checked by the police. They checked through everyone's bags and made sure no suspicious-looking people got in. As a result of these checks, lines were formed. Every year, thousands of people attend Kyiv Pride, despite the threat of attacks.
You know when you have values, you're not afraid to die for them, but it's only scary when you sit and stay silent, afraid. I can tell you that in the sphere of HIV/AIDS, if people had been afraid, we would not have had therapy. We would have all died. In reality, it's the same here. We need to go out and speak. Fear does not belong here. We need to show people, those who are afraid, that they can finally accept themselves, because we're also standing up for them.
Participants in the march brought rainbow flags and Ukrainian flags. Later on, drag queens arrived. At the Kyiv Pride territory, volunteers helped the participants form an orderly column. The march started at 10 a.m. In total, the participants walked around 1.5 kilometers. Police were guarding both sides of the column, but despite that, some disturbers of the march managed to break through the cordon of guards. There were no other provocations during the march.
Yes, things are changing. What's changed is that this year my mother helped me get ready for Pride. The attitude has changed. Although, still, when I was going to the metro, I saw a man who was on his phone saying, "What is this gay parade really today?" I always see that there isn't a clear line between Pride and a parade. There is a lot of indignation over the fact that the public wasn't able to get to the metro station they were trying to get to. In a sense, comfort takes first place. No one wants to figure out why people are here, what they want, and so on. In reality, what people here want concerns absolutely everyone, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. This is something that every country needs, even those people who weren't able to get to their metro station.
So in the end, the participants of the march were grateful to the police. They were chanting. But this year there were a lot of criticism by some other people that it's a bit overdone. Too much kind of security. Since yesterday, the center of the city is shut down, and that kind of provokes the critique. So what would you say? Could it be handled differently, that it gives more feeling of the freedom rather than a secured cage?
This is the challenge for the Kyiv Pride, I guess, for the last 3 years when we are marching in the city center, because I do understand that police at some point overprotect, overdo some security measures, but I do trust them on their choices and their choices of the security measures regarding Kyiv Pride, because as I already mentioned, we do have the very good cooperation and understanding one of each other. And I guess these were the needed, necessary measures to do this year.
And Tymur, do you feel that the protest mood against the Pride is growing? So beside the far rights this year, there were more marches, smaller, but let's say from the conservative groups like traditional family values, and they are also more heard. Some kind of heard in the public sphere, at least like from the other TV channels in Ukraine. The discussion is definitely, there is bigger discussion. So what would you say? Is it in generally this controversy over LGBT is growing in the society and discussion is harsher?
So I think LGBT community more visible in Ukraine now, and of course our opponents more active and more visible too. And I think it's a really normal process in our country and other countries. But I think really important understanding that our community more power, more visible, and we can see on the Pride about 5,000 persons, but we can't see our opponents. It's like about 100 or 200 people. So.
At the same time, there were two MPs, at least that's what we clearly know, Sergei Leshchenko and Ruslana Panukhnik, who've been there for 4 years. But we haven't seen way more. We have Euro-optimists, we have a lot of other people, we have 450 MPs. I've seen some of the junior members of different cabinets. I haven't seen, I could be mistaken, but I have met a German minister for Europe, but I haven't met any Ukrainian minister. So how it's going with that? Were they invited? How this communication is going on? Because I find it symbolic.
Actually, there were 3 MPs in the march. Yeah, we discovered that after the march that there were like Alexei Mushak as well. So, but yeah, this is the challenge for Kyiv Pride as well. We're trying to engage as many decision makers and like role models for the people to participate in the Pride. But I guess this small number of people, of MPs and other like politicians participate in this Pride, I would say was connected to the next elections, next year's elections, and I guess they were more reluctant to do that in order to secure their electorate and etc.
And if we summarize, beside the Prides, what is the next goal? What probably would be the issue, the one issue to solve for the LGBT community in Ukraine?
More participants, I think.
And besides the Prides, on the everyday, regarding their everyday life?
I would say the maximum implementation of the Human Rights Strategy 2020, which includes as well the draft on these same-sex partnerships as well, and also the legislations on hate crimes prosecution and the anti-discrimination legislation, and of course the educational work and the other informational work in order to educate people and to bring more information in order to make to do they are more tolerant and more acceptant to the LGBT community, and maybe they will join the march next year.
So thanks a lot. You definitely deserve good rest. And I should say that Ukraine also marks Father's Day today. By the way, both the Ukrainian president and the Ukrainian prime minister, first of all, today congratulated the country with this event, not mentioning the Pride, at least that's what we have heard.